Hello to everyone on YouTube and also on my Twitch, since we're back here again. And now that I'm looking, I had to look back at the past video that we did of this. I swear on my soul I do laundry because I realize I'm wearing the same shirt that we wore the last time we did these episodes. I just did laundry and I love this shirt. That's why I have it on. I swear to God I have different shirts. But anyway, so
I have to make one correction first. Last time we didn't get Mark's wife's name right. It's Layla.
Layla, yes. Mark's wife's name.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, so we got out the detail that only he can see all this horse shit, which makes a lot of sense.
And it makes certain moments very funny.
It does. And I got what I wanted. At least in this episode. I wanted so bad last time for Steven to have his what do I want to say? Talking to the audience moment with the statue every episode. And I got it again. The statue's a person.
Yep. That must be a thing in London.
It must be. Like, he's just like an attraction, and somehow Steven hasn't noticed. Oh, yeah. Because, like, we have those. Like, we have a person that, like, there's a Liberty Insurance building, like, hours away from me where a person stands out, like, the Statue of Liberty in front of it and stuff like that. But, yeah. Layla's his wife.
Yeah. they just kind of casually slid that in. Like, yeah, are you gonna talk to me? I'm kind of your wife.
Not only that, they're in the process of getting divorced. Like, what is this show? All the crap they give that every Marvel property is the same. They have not been watching these TV shows whatsoever. They haven't been watching the movies whatsoever. Like, this is one of those things that is like Loki and WandaVision levels of bonkers.
And again, what I love about this so far is it's the first show that's like kind of wholly independent.
Yeah. I still legitimately, like, I got a little bit of plot now. Now it's like, Amit's bad. We don't want Amit to come back. Oh boy, Amit. That's all I got. That's it. It's ridiculous.
To the extent that I know about Amit in the context of this show is she's basically Minority Report, but for Egyptians.
Yeah, and it's like, it's kind of the Steven is, wow, holy shit, is this on point? Steven is taking the exact same viewpoint that I have, but also that Steve Rogers has on this whole thing where it's like, anyone who tries to win a war before it starts, people die. Innocent people die every time.
Mm-hmm.
Literally says it in Age of Ultron with Tony. I was like, man, this is Age of Ultron and Captain America, the Winter Soldier all over again.
Wow, it is.
It's the helicarrier.
But again, a different
it's a totally different version of where, like, this god deity is like, you have the possibility of being bad in your soul. It's like, okay, so I'm human. That's what you're getting at. Do we need to go over that humans are evil by nature?
I don't think so.
No. There's a couple other, if you want to go on it, gods that have a rather strong opinion on that. But yeah, I do like this, that it's like, how do we want to put this? Do you believe in the helicarriers or the Punisher? That's kind of how this believes, where it's like, do you believe in punishing the could-be bad guy, or really punishing the guy once you know he did bad and you mess him up properly.
Yeah, that's basically the range we're dealing with.
Because it's like the part I love about this is, well, that we learned that Haro is a former avatar of Khonshu, but he's like, oh no, I know that Khonshu gets the job done and he does his job. I just feel that he takes too long. What? He's like, by the time Khonshu does something, someone's already been evil. And then of all people, Steven's like, yeah, because then that person deserves it. Like, we have the most basic, no shit, Sherlock conversation in the middle of this episode.
Yeah, basically. Although I love it just because I love Ethan Hawke and Oscar Isaac just kind of talking.
Yeah, and it's just like it's very much and I didn't know he was gonna have a cult, but I guess that makes sense with all the people having the tattoos. But it's so much their own leader, and this is like the oh man, push to the nth degree. Their leader knows he's nuts, but he's got his head so far up his own ass that he's like, yeah, I get I'm stupid, but I'm rolling with it because Amit says I'm special.
I think that's why Ethan Hawke was perfect to play his character.
Oh, he's great.
Because he can do both menacing and chill at the same time.
Yeah, he's doing awesome. But yet again, I swear on my soul, we are 2 episodes in and they haven't done a damn thing to explain the glass and the sandals.
Nope. And I don't think they ever will.
No. If they don't, I'll make a strongly worded tweet. I can't do much else outside of that, but damn it.
I think the only thing we know about that choice is that it was in fact a choice.
Yeah, it's creepy.
The show gets weird.
The show gets weird. And what I love here is that, again, I don't know jack with a side of squat about Moon Knight, but it's like I'm getting more and more actively confused where Mark started and Steven ended.
Same. Like, I think this show, like, for the purposes of having an audience surrogate, they're basically just leading into, okay, Steven is the dominant personality, but he sucks, so Mark's got to take charge.
Yeah, it's like, okay, did the personality not come in to factor until when? Because Khonshu says in this, he found him
as a corpse.
And not that long ago, because Haro is a former person, former avatar, and he was an adult when he was a mercenary. So how long has Mark been in the picture that Steven hasn't been realizing his whole life that Mark has been taking him over in his sleep?
Maybe the next episode will be like, oh no, by the way, your whole life has been a lie. Mark is the real you.
That's what I thought was going to happen when they started getting more stuff from Mark, where he's like, no, get out of my body. And he's like, you don't understand. Or that I thought he was going to scream, you're the person who's the weird personality, not me. And then I thought that's what the whole blow up was going to be midway through this episode when they started really bitching at each other.
I thought that too, but if they're changing it from the source material for the purposes of the show, then fine, whatever.
Yeah, I'm fine either way. And matter of fact, the way they're doing this, they could either never tell you who was the dominant personality, or just have it be either. So they're still leaving it open to options until they go to that point, if they do.
Yeah, and I don't think they have to right away, because really, really this episode was about telling us a little bit of what the suit's supposed to do and a little bit of what our goal is.
Yes. And so in this okay. I'm trying God this show. So Mr. Knight is specifically Steven. And he has a Christmas sticks. He's Nightwing.
But in a much nicer suit.
In a much nicer suit. So each person, again, people, I don't know a damn thing about Moon Knight. So each personality has their own Moon Knight suit. And Spectre's the only one that looks like actual Moon Knight.
Apparently.
So someone mentioned in one of your statuses, Jacob Lockley, or like Jared, whatever his name was, is he going to be something like completely different?
So from what I understand in the comics, Jacob Lockley is a cab driver.
Okay. So we have museum curator, like shop guy. We have assassin, and we have cab driver.
Yep.
Go on.
That's really the extent of what I know about Lockley, but still, this character gets weirder the more I learn about them.
I feel like I'm 100% not getting the show I thought I was getting. And I'm fine with that. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know what show I was expecting, and I somehow still got the show I wasn't what I was expecting. I don't know how to explain it. This show is weird every 5 minutes.
And I think that's why they got the directors that they hired for this for episodes 2 and 4. These are directed by Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson, who are two indie directors who have done like just the weirdest sort of horror-esque films. I think they bring the appropriate amount of weirdness to the material. And I think they're also coming back for Loki too, which makes sense.
They do, and it's like this episode, the show of what I'm gathering is you're gonna get plot for about 5 minutes. And the rest of the show is just gonna be Animaniacs.
I think that's what I like. That's what I love about this show. It's like it has a plot, in lowercase letters, but the show is really built on the strength of the performances, the kind of sort of direction of the action. I can't say there's no action because then this wouldn't be a comic book film or series.
There's not a lot though, and I'm not exactly against that, but this show is built and carried on the personalities interacting with each other. And I'm okay with that because that's something different. Because these shows don't need nonstop action all the time to be good. Because like Loki barely had any. And WandaVision borderline had none.
Until the finale.
Yeah.
Something else I kind of realized from a production standpoint, the fact that only Steven or Mark can see Khonshu and the other monsters. Yeah, it's a perfect way to save money on effects.
Yep.
Because all you need is like maybe a little bit of CGI for like the stunt people. But really that like you can accomplish all that with just wires and stuff.
Exactly. And even with Khonshu, his mouth doesn't even move. He just talks. I love it. It feels like I'm watching a Marvel Saturday morning cartoon that stars a murderer.
And people thought this could be more like the Daredevil or the Punisher.
Well, yeah, because they're like, because the honest thing that I keep getting told by people, and again, I know nothing about it, but I know a good amount about Batman, because everybody's like, yeah, Moon Knight's just Marvel's Batman. And the more I'm like, y'all haven't even been on the same continent as Moon Knight, if this is accurate. This ain't even close.
Nope.
He is closer to Condiment King than he is fucking Batman. No, he's closer to who is
Psycho
the guy
Pirate?
that who's the guy that Jack Ryder turns into?
What's his name?
The weird dude.
The Creeper.
The Creeper, yeah, he's like damn near closer to that than he is Batman.
I think at each passing day that becomes so much less true.
That was day one. I'm like, what? What, because he's harmful to people? He's closer to the Punisher than he is Batman. Oh man, I love this show.
I have seen people compare this to Venom, and even
I take that kinda.
I see where they're coming from. I don't necessarily agree because
I would
situation.
take the movie version of Venom.
Sure, and I think that's really what they're comparing it to.
Yeah, and it's like let me take control, but it's more of a what do I want to say. Yeah, it's the stark difference where Eddie and Venom are two things living on the same person, where this is two people living in the same person, and you can only really have one at a time, where it's like you're kind of getting Eddie and Venom at the same time, no matter what. And it's hard to say because they're both. It's a weird distinction of how they handle it because it's the same way. It's two people talking to each other in their heads, but you can tell they're both able to take control at any second, so they handle each other differently. Where they're arguing over who's in the pilot seat for all this, so it's a different dynamic. It's done similarly, but just enough dissimilarly to where it's its own thing.
Yeah.
And it's done well. And we get and I like the whole even though like we said it's similar. I do like the whole that they're going to have they could have Steven and Mark and Haro arguing over what's the proper way to judge people. Because, and oh God, I had to pause the episode because I laughed so hard. Steven turned into me for 5 seconds in this show. And Mike, I'm sure you can agree. And every person that has ever worked a job where they are at the bottom of the totem pole, where he's just like, you're just judging an innocent person, aren't you? I mean, every day I want to murder my boss, but I don't do it.
I've been there. I've been there.
Oh, I was like, Steven, man after my own heart.
We've all been there.
We've all been there. But that's just like that brings up a good point though. If like you said like, oh man, if I could just throttle you and you not be here anymore, my life be better. Are you then guilty because you had the thought of wanting to do the thing because you said it?
It honestly raises some it raises some interesting questions.
Yeah, and it's like, who's in the right there? It's like, do you have to stop them before they can get to that point? Or do you have to wait, be like, no, sorry, like you said, Minority Report or whatever. It's like, no. And it's like, there's also like, I want to say it's in Minority Report, where it's like they, one of the people, I want to say it's one of the people there. I've only seen Minority Report once, where there's like an evidence pile of like that this guy is addicted to like child porn or like is like a child rapist or something. Or it's something, I believe it was something along those lines. But they go to investigate this dude's house, and there is what they just call an orgy of evidence. Where it's like, guys, This is framing a person where it's like you could take that sentence, I want to murder my boss, and you really feel it for a minute. In your heart, you were guilty for 2 minutes. But you weren't really actually going to do that. You had the sitcom moment where you rip the guy's arms off and beat him to death, and then it zips back to what you're really thinking. But yeah, and it's an interesting way to think about it. Because like they have that they very little have that dilemma with people. Because again, like with Punisher, I want to say Punisher has an argument with Daredevil in the comics about this, where he's like, you don't know what could have happened with that person. They could have turned their life around, and Punisher just goes, "That's stupid." And he goes, "You want to know why I don't have a long list of arch nemesis? Because I get rid of them, unlike you idiots." And
I think Wonder Woman said something similar.
Yeah, and it's like, and because they did the bad, whether it be jaywalking or third-degree murder, they got what they needed. And you gotta see who's in the right here. So yeah, and man, I was like, wow, they finally got Ethan Hawke to be in something, and I was like, I wonder if they're gonna fully get, because Ethan Hawke for me is one of those actors that he is good in almost everything that he does, and I mean exceptional in everything that he does, but he barely gets the praise he deserves.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
even in stuff like The Purge, he is excellent.
Yeah, I do not like the first Purge movie, but he is honestly the best thing about it.
Yeah, he's great. Everything he's in, he's great. He's world class at everything. But then I'm just like, man, and he's never going to be anything, whatever. And then they got him to be in, I'm like, he's in Moon Knight? Like, okay, that's awesome. And then he got Oscar, and I'm like, also, talking about keeping it cheap, there is basically 5 main characters in this show, and 3 of them live inside Oscar Isaac.
Yep.
Because you got Layla, you got Harrow, and then you have Mark, Khonshu, and Steven.
Yep.
And we are trying real hard to not get more than 1 main or supporting character an episode. And we've only got 4 more after this.
Yep.
Yeah, so
by the way, how do you feel about Layla?
She's another interesting piece to the puzzle. I like her, because she's going to have more details as this goes along, because they are doing really good about drip feeding stuff. And I appreciate that. Every character is introduced as a puzzle piece versus more of like a supporting actor. And it's kind of weird to say that, because it's like, oh, they're just going to play a big role. It's like, no, you're just something that Steven forgot. And you kind of need to be here for that point, and then you're away. It's kind of weird to say that they're a plot point versus an actor, because duh, it's an actor. But
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
like everyone is important to the narrative, but to what degree really just depends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And speaking of Layla, she's probably going to be more important than I just mentioned, because Mark says, and then Khonshu confirms, that he's basically hostage situationing Mark, because he says his next host is going to be Layla.
Yep.
And I don't know how, what I want to say, transference of Khonshu works.
That's something I'm very curious about.
Yeah. Because again, they could change it from comics and I really wouldn't care. Like, I know nothing about this and I'm enjoying it.
Same.
And I won't say in context what we did, because we still have roughly like 11 Neon Genesis videos to go through at this point. But we just did and fully recorded our entire next season of Fresh Takes. And the last episode is me comparing what we watched to the source material. And oh boy, does that source material get changed at the end. But I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about what happened in the source material before I watched it.
This is the thing about adaptation that most people don't fully understand is that you can't just take something from the page and translate it directly to another medium.
Yeah, there's
Things have to be changed, whether whether it's for budgetary reasons or I don't know, you're massaging the sensibilities of the audience or what, like, or again, we're only 2 episodes deep, and this could have some ties to the larger MCU later on. Like we talked about last week about the Werewolf by Night special, which could be a lot more supernatural.
Which, did you catch the horse shit that's in that first episode?
Remind me?
If you pause Moon Knight when he's talking to that kid at the pyramid, there is a QR code on the wall.
Wait.
And if you scan it, you get Werewolf by Midnight.
Oh, yeah.
Where Moon Knight debuts.
So someone told me about that earlier.
That's crazy. That is actually nuts. I can't think of another time where they put a QR code on the wall of a movie and it
actually works.
And it works. Yeah, if you get a good scan, it actually works. That's crazy to me. Cue the comments where there's 4,000 examples of that already, but I'm like, that's pretty cool.
This is like, honestly, next level product placement.
Yeah, you're advertising the thing inside of the thing. That's like having commercials for McDonald's inside of Super Size Me. Why? They know about it. But another thing you said about adaptation, I will say this all the time, and it's a thing that pisses me off to no end, because we're kind of basically done here at the end, other than Mark's in control now. And he's obviously very pissed at Steven and Conchu. When we talk about these adaptations, people are such hypocrites. This is going to be another Brock right here. People are such hypocrites about these movies, and it pisses me off because they can't even get their heads out of their own asses to realize how big of a hypocrites they are being. They will go on and on and on and on and on and on about how this doesn't match any of the comics. This isn't that. I've seen 4 different runs where it doesn't do this. I'm like, hey guys, let's take a dose of reality here and think about what you just said. Cool. So, Moon Knight, there could be 16 different starting versions. Mike, you and me both read comics. You and me both know that after a while, they just get reset because people don't understand how to use discretion. And there's 14 different versions of a character going at one time. So then they get rebooted and they get a new origin and they get new details. Cool. Yeah, happens every now and then. A lot if you're a DC fan. Mm-hmm. But when that happens, they get a fresh new start. They get a new writer. They get new penmanship, new scribes, and then they start off on a new adventure. Hey, Mike, what does that sound like?
That sounds like every other adaptation ever.
It's almost like it's the same damn thing, except this time it's recorded and put to digital versus on a page. So you going, this isn't the exact same thing. You're literally a moron. No, duh, it's not the same thing because they're doing what comics do and adapting and making a new version and writing a new story. What comics have been doing for over 80 years.
Yep.
And also, I don't know about you, Mike, but when I watch something, I don't want to know word for word, turn for turn, plot point for plot point, what's happening, because that's boring.
Even in like movies and shows that like I've watched or read before, for me, it's not even about what happens. It's how is this different?
Yeah. And also, as far as adaptation goes, there's a reason why there's very few people that have wrote movies on top of being able to be good at writing movies. on top, like, judge what you want about Joss Whedon as a person. He made 2 really good Avengers movies, in my opinion. Wrote them as well. He's also written comic books. Do you have anyone have any idea how giant of a difference those 2 mediums are as far as writing goes?
Oh yeah, they're basically night and day.
Yeah, and you're going to adapt something where on one page you get eight columns, 8 different pictures, and then maybe 5 thought bubbles that are 6 words each. Adapt that and do it exactly. But now be a 50-minute episode and don't change anything. You can't do that, people. Think for longer than 2 seconds. It's dumb. It's these people that are just, it's what I hate about all type of coverage today to an extent. People think they're cool because they rip something to shit. It's become the it thing to make something look bad.
Yep.
It's now fun to, even if you like something, go out of your way to find something bad with it. And you and me on this very channel have a playlist dedicated to us ripping stuff to shit. But we're picking stuff that is underneath the pond scum, that is underneath the barrel, that is at the bottom of the lake.
That is true.
It's actually bad. We're not going like, hey kids, we're going to tell you why the Shawshank Redemption's a pile of shit, strap in. We're not doing stuff like that.
No, we wouldn't dare do that.
No. Just, there's a reason why, and not a lot of people like the channel, but CinemaSins, to a degree, he's being an asshole. But to a degree, you can tell he's making up something for a laugh to say why a scene is bad. Like every time he says DC Comics, it's because DC Comics is dumb, because it's Detective Comics comics. Yeah, but anyway, enough of that rant. I'm still really liking the show.
Same.
It's great. I like not knowing what the hell's going on.
Honestly, the show has given me very low-key vibes in terms of just like the looseness of the plot. And
you know what it also is still doing? Having Jack with a side of squad to do with anything else in the MCU.
Yep.
And I love that. Because, like, if we end this whole thing and they're like, this whole time, the Egyptian gods were just Eternals, I'm gonna throw my TV out the window.
I hope they don't do that.
I want this to be dumb. I want to live in a world where we have Eternals, we have the Norse gods, but we also have the Egyptian gods. I want this to be a thing where all the stupid is in one pot. I want it so bad because we haven't had a chance to have all that. You've always been contained in that movie. Then there has to be a point where, again, I want Luis to be that guy at some point to go, so let me get this straight. We got a moon god. We got the Norse gods. What else is real? It's like in Supernatural where I can't remember what he says. He's talking with this cop after the cop realizes that things from the supernatural realm exist. He's like, everything, but he's like, no, Sasquatch. That's a bunch of horse crap. That doesn't exist. He's like, oh, well, that makes me feel better. But it's either Sasquatch or the Loch Ness Monster. I can't remember which one it is. But he's like, yeah, that's a bunch of crap. But everything else, yeah, that's real.
I love that. One of my favorite tropes is they make a similar joke twice in the Owl House where one of the characters just lists off a bunch of urban legends and then one of them is giraffes.
They're scary, man. That just reminds me of Supernatural again. Yeah, her unicorns are real too. They ride on silver moonbeams and shoot rainbows out their ass. Oh
Good
man,
Lord.
if I ever had the dedication for us to do a fresh takes on Supernatural, oh my lord, I couldn't subject anyone to that. I think it's over 300 episodes, and they're all an hour long.
Yeah.
It's something stupid. They went for 15 years. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited to keep going with this, and I just wanted to get more stupid. I don't know if they're going to introduce any other personalities. I don't think it would make sense at this point.
Yeah.
But
If they were to do it, we might see it next week. But
yeah,
I'm not sure if there's room based on the information we've received so far.
unless like now that they're in Egypt, he like just walks around and one of them like thinks he's a cab driver and like calls out to him as Jacob, and he's like, "What?" Because it's not going to get as stupid as like Legion, where it's like all split, all have different mutant powers, all this thing. But yeah, it's great. I had a feeling I was gonna like Moon Knight. I love Moon Knight.
Yeah, this episode is what confirmed it for me that okay, so I love the show now.
Yeah, absolutely. And like as far as like promotional material goes, I kind of think we're at what they showed.
I think so, yeah.
Because I don't remember any other versions of Moon Knight suit at all. We saw Mr. Knight, we saw Moon Knight, we've seen Khonshu, we have Haro, and they're in Egypt now. So I kind of think we're in unknown land now.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that a lot. And like, I was like, ask, you have any predictions for next week? I'm like, I have no freaking idea. I couldn't even come up with something if I tried.
Same. This is one of those shows that I don't want to do the prediction game. I just want to take it as it is.
Yeah, we'll do that. All right. We're gonna get on out of here because like I legit have nothing else. I don't know what's going with the show, but I'm liking it. So yeah, we'll just head on out of here. Mike, where can everybody reach you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Captain K42. You can check out my quick thoughts on letterbox.com/Coach K42. And you can find me in all the various Facebook groups just at my name. You can check out Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. You can also find us on Podchaser and the Banana Meter. Listen to all of our podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. You can escape, so do we.
Absolutely. And you can find me everywhere at Organoid Zero, where I will be streaming. Got Life is Strange going on right now. If I get time to stream on Wednesdays, I will do Donkey Kong as well. But, unless we're doing what it depends on what nights we do Moon Knight. I'll pick which one we're doing there. And this will, depending on how well this gets, I might have this up tonight, which would be Wednesday, or up Thursday. We will be recording, depending on what happens for my actual job work schedule. We'll be streaming and recording the review for Sonic 2 either Thursday or Friday night. It'd be one of those two. So we'll see. All right. We will see you guys next time.